The universe was a grand stage, cast in the shadow of warfare and desperation. Earth stood as a struggling actor amidst the cosmic velocity of progress. Its denizens were not alone. An alien race, known as the Ravagers, challenged the planetary sanctum. Across the whispering silences of interstellar voids, humanity screamed one word: resistance. On the cusp of annihilation, Earth's leaders looked to their last glimmer of hope, a team of scientists and soldiers of diverse origins. Aboard the rundown spacecraft Eclipse, they hurtled towards Saturn's moon Titan, not to explore but to awaken. Any sign of Alliance support? Sergeant Rhea Virtus broke the silence, her voice tinged with authority and fatigue. None yet. Dr. Cole Mathis, the team's lead scientist, leaned over the ship's console, wrestling with the ancient instruments. Given Titan's atmosphere, they might not be able to track us accurately. The crackling of the ship's comms was a haunting lullaby, a reminder that they could be alone in this fight. The Ravagers' towering ships dotted the celestial canvas, a grim reminder of death painted against the black. Rhea's thoughts wandered as the Eclipse pierced the hazy Titanian clouds. The mission that lay ahead was a gamble, a blind reach into mythology, echoing whispers of a power said to end wars. The secrets of Titan, sleeping beneath its cyan veils for millennia, waited for their touch to revive. We're approaching the landing zone. Cole's voice pulled Rhea back from her reverie, answered by the syncopated hum of engines. Do you believe it's real? She asked, a fragility beneath her steely facade. Cole hesitated, their shared gaze carrying the weight of uncertainty. It has to be. Otherwise, we have no choice. With each second a dance closer to fate, Earth's last hope plunged through Saturn's rings, diving toward the moon with the last vestiges of strength. The real battle was only beginning. The Eclipse trembled as it breached Titan's atmosphere, a cacophony of shuddering hull and hyperactive alarms. Rhea gripped the armrest, her knuckles white, as the ship fought against the moon's unpredictable winds. Let's hope this holds, Cole muttered, sweat beading on his forehead. His fingers danced across the control panel like an artist caught in hostile improvisation. In the ship's bowels, Major Eli Torrin gathered the troops, a motley assembly of humanity's finest, though weary and fragmented by loss. Eli, stocky yet swift, was a quintessential soldier, fueled by cause, not conquest. Listen up! His voice carried the authority of someone who had seen too many battles. Whatever's buried here is our best shot. We get in, initiate it, and get out. Expect hostiles, both from the Ravagers and from the land itself. He paused, ensuring his eyes met each soldier's, an unspoken promise of leadership. The silence stretched, magnetic and taut. Major! A hesitant voice emerged from the group. It was Private Aisha Lang, one of the younger recruits with a knack for engineering. Is it? Safe? Safe isn't in the mission lexicon, Lang. We adapt or we die. You signed up to make a difference, didn't you? Eli's words struck like a hammer against the anvil of their steely resolve. The ship sagged as it touched down upon the icy, methane-swept surface of Titan, groaning beneath the pressure of 1,000 unfulfilled hopes. Outside, colossal geysers erupted in alien greetings, painting vivid arcs against the ruddy sky. The landscape stretched, an intricate painting of rugged ridges and valleys, interlocked in a silent, eternal symphony. Rhea joined the team as they disembarked, her presence a beacon of determination. Let's find this weapon, she ordered. The descent into Titan's heart began with each step meeting the path less forged, treacherous and unfamiliar. Into this strangeness they plunged, a ragtag assembly against the advancing night, clinging to fragments of faith and fire. This was humanity's last stand, a dance of defiance poised against the edge of an ancient cosmic abyss. Each step on Titan's frozen surface was a battle of endurance and will. The haze of methane and nitrogen clung to their suits, a cold wraith whispering of their isolation. Rhea led the way, her steps calculated, one eye on the compass and the other on the treacherous terrain. Rhea, any signs yet? Cole's voice crackled over the shortwave frequency, carrying a hope enveloped in static. Nothing yet, Cole, she replied, suppressing the tremor in her voice born from the burden of leadership. The coordinates had led them through valleys of ice and rivers of liquid methane, to the edges of chasms that stared back like ancient weathered gazes. Beneath the Titan sky, the unknown tested their resolve. We trust our gear, not our nerves, Eli barked over his comms as they maneuvered around jagged rocks, his army training a fixture of calming stability. Just then, Aisha's voice broke through, tinged with a mixture of alarm and fascination. "Hold up! I'm getting some readings." Her scanner blinked to life, a beacon of promise in the cosmic wilderness. The mixture of methane, ammonia, and hydrogen presented a unique challenge, but Aisha had parsed through cryptic data before. Her hands danced over the interface, skeletal trees of ancient knowledge guiding them. "Does it lead to the source?" Rhea asked, clutching her hope against the cold logic of her surroundings. "I believe so," Aisha confirmed, her voice tightening with restrained excitement. "There's an anomaly up ahead. We may not have much time before the short daylight fades." As they advanced, the air buzzed with latent energy, an ancient promise woven into the fibers of the atmosphere. Ahead stood a monolith, partially buried within the ice, a relic from a far older time. "This has to be it," Cole whispered, more to himself than to his team. Awe and apprehension mingled as they approached. Rhea gazed upon the towering enigma, a puzzle wrought of alien hands. If this was the key to turning the tide, they had but one opportunity to unlock its secrets. Everything balanced on this knife edge of time. The monolith loomed over them, an unreadable face carved from an unknown era. Its surface was etched with patterns that danced under Titan's weak sunlight, whispers of a language long forgotten by time. "Everyone, gear up. We need to establish a perimeter," Rhea commanded, her gaze piercing through her helmet's visor, projecting a quiet storm of determination. Li motioned for the soldiers to form a perimeter, weapons trained on the horizon. His eyes never left the periphery. He knew complacency was an assassin cloaked in silence. Aisha stood close to the monolith, her gloved hand tracing the carvings. "These symbols, they look like a technological interface, but much more advanced than anything we've seen," she murmured, transfixed. "Can you access it?" Cole inquired, his voice a blend of curiosity and urgency. He hovered behind, mind cycling through the knowledge banks of humankind for some analogous revelation. Aisha nodded tentatively. "I have a theory. Some of these symbols align with harmonics, like a sound-based key. We need to produce a resonance that matches these frequencies." "Get on it. We don't have much time," Rhea urged, looking nervously at the darkening horizon. The shadows stretched, tangling with uncertainty. As Aisha worked, manipulating a makeshift frequency generator from their limited gear, the air hummed with anticipation. The team watched, hearts caught between the thrum of fear and the electric potential for salvation. A low vibration rolled through the ground, a seismic conversation between the ancient and the brave. The monolith began to resonate, pulsing with a life force dormant for eons. "It's working," Aisha gasped, her eyes widening as symbols began to illuminate, a cascading aeon of lights. Suddenly an unearthly roar echoed through Titan's landscape. The Ravagers had detected the activation, a predator responding to a wounded prey's call. "We've got company," Eli shouted, scanning the horizon where the dark figures of their foes appeared, lithe and menacing. As raw energy surged through the monolith, Rhea and her team stood as guardians at the threshold of old gods and new hopes. The race against extinction had reached a pivotal crescendo. The alien roar shattered the fragile tranquility, transforming the surface of Titan into a battleground teetering on the brink of cataclysm. Rhea's heart pounded in sync with the seismic pulse of the monolith, now alive with energy, a beacon calling both ally and adversary. "All units, defensive positions, prepare for impact," Eli commanded, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. The Ravagers moved with a fluidity that belied their powerful presence, their ships gliding through Titan's atmosphere, a foreboding promise of ruin. Aisha continued her delicate dance with the monolith's interface, each frequency adjustment sending ripples through its ancient architecture. "I need more time," she shouted, sweat tracing an anxious line down her temple. "Time's a luxury we don't have," Rhea shot back, firing a signal flare into the dusky sky, hoping against hope that friendly eyes would see their plight. The air quivered with the exchange of gunfire, humanity's fierce resistance a fragile barrier against overwhelming force. Soldiers moved with the precision of desperation, each shot a prayer, each maneuver a testament to life's indomitable will. Cole stayed close to Aisha, offering cover with practiced bursts of laser fire. "We're making history here, just keep going," he encouraged, his tone a fusion of camaraderie and urgency. The monolith responded to Aisha's adept touch, its lights intensifying, casting iridescent patterns across the snow and ice. Invisible threads of power began weaving through the air, connecting Earthborn hopes to alien-born legacies. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled violently, propelling columns of dust heavenward. The monolith's harmonics reached a crescendo, the symphony's climax met with both awe and terror. "Everyone, hold your ground," Rhea declared, rallying her weary troops. Her voice, an anchor amidst chaos, rooted them to their mission. With each passing moment, the stakes escalated, the outcome tethered to the razor-thin edge between triumph and annihilation. The countdown to destiny continued, their fates entwined with the monolith's awakening. The landscape around the monolith shifted, as if the ancient structure was stirring a sleeping giant from its slumber. Waves of energy pulsed outward, sending shockwaves that rattled across the hostile terrain. Rhea's team clung to the notion of resolve like a lifeline through the pandemonium. "Ellie, status report," Rhea demanded over the din, shielding her eyes against the strobe-like flashes emitted by the monolith. "We're holding, but only just," Eli replied, his tone betraying the strain. The Ravagers pressed at their defenses, alien war cries an eerie symphony overlaying the thrum of battle. A sudden eruption of blue-white energy exploded from the monolith's apex, a bullwhip cracking in the fabric of reality. The team staggered back, eyes wide in astonishment as the sky itself seemed to ripple and bend. "Look!" Aisha shouted, pointing skyward where the very air appeared to fracture like glass under a hammer. Through the crumbling veil, a structure began to materialize, impossibly vast and elaborate, a city of light poised in the sky. "I can't believe it," Cole breathed, his eyes transfixed on the marvel above. The monolith wasn't just a weapon, it was a gateway, a bridge spanning across epochs. Yet the Ravagers were relentless, sensing their doom woven into this tapestry of technology and history. They intensified their assault, dark shapes surging like a storm across Titan's surface. Rhea and Ely coordinated their troops, every maneuver a choreographed dance of survival against the tearing winds of adversity. Each life here represented entire worlds' worth of potential. They could not falter. "We're on borrowed time," Rhea shouted, sharing a significant glance with Aisha. Aisha nodded, hands a blur over the controls. "I'm close to unlocking the final sequence, but I'll need everyone's help to channel it." The team gathered, resolve knitted by strands of collective purpose. As the structure in the sky solidified, its promise of salvation dangling just out of reach, they prepared to enact the final stages of their cosmic gamble. Even amidst the cacophony of chaos, a sliver of burgeoning hope threaded through the wails of war, a nascent determination gleaming in their eyes. Titan's surface was a vivid tableau of chaos and revelation, and only Rhea's team stood between salvation and oblivion. The monolith now sang with a harmonic melody, resonating with the mysterious city that hovered impossibly close, its light a beacon against the encroaching darkness of Ravager forces. "We need to synchronize our efforts. This city wasn't just meant to be seen, it's meant to interact with the monolith." Aisha exclaimed, the pieces of the puzzle clicking in her mind, fueled by an urgency that danced dangerously close to fear. Rhea responded with a rallying cry that inspired the hardened resolve of her soldiers. "You heard her. Everyone focus. Coordinate fire on my mark. Protect Aisha." Around them, Titan's ghostly landscape seemed to wake, shaking with the power of old legends now revealed. The ground no longer shivered in response to Ravager agony, but seemed to bend toward the human touch, alive with possibility. Eli surveyed the troops, the standard under his command now elevated by purpose beyond warfare. "Ready your positions. Fight like it's your last breath. Fight for the future we all seek." His personal credo now infused his every cell with raw determination. As the skirmish raged on, Aisha advanced with Cole, aligning the monolith's resonant frequencies to match the shimmering patterns cast by the city above them. The synchronization process required every ounce of skill and spirit they could muster, human ingenuity pitted against alien sophistication. "Can we do it, Aisha?" Cole questioned, a steadfast guardian at her side. She met his gaze, courage blazing brighter than the danger enveloping them. "If there was ever a time to find faith, it's now," she replied. Alien screams pierced the air, the Ravagers knowing that their doom lay in the sky, untouchable yet profound. The team's collective will to protect was their shield against the tide, humanity's very essence manifest in valor. Slowly, agonizingly, the gap between earthborn reach and celestial promise began to close. With each passing moment, the ethereal city inched closer to revelation, threads of light beginning to etch a connection never before imagined. The air became electric, crackling with the resonance between Titan's monolith and the skyborn city of light. Time seemed to stretch, caught in the gravitational pull of the impossible, as Rhea's team stood as both witnesses and warriors in this cosmic rebirth. "Stay sharp, we're almost there," Rhea bellowed above the clamor, her voice the string that kept them taut against the fraying edge. In response, the ground quaked with renewed intensity, a seismic rhythm echoing through Titan's icy plains. The monolith was not just a beacon now. It was a conductor, orchestrating a symphony that defied the chasms of time and space. Aisha worked frantically, her mind a confluence of adrenaline and intellect. The frequencies raced through her control panel as she nudged them into perfect sync. "Cole, give me that last input feed. It's now or never." He complied without hesitation, his trust in Aisha unwavering. With deft hands, they fine-tuned the sequences, an intricate dance that blurred lines between hope and despair. Suddenly, a Ravager ship swooped down, its hull a shadow against the backdrop of ethereal illumination. "Engage," Eli commanded, triggering a storm of retaliatory fire from their ranks. Their weapons flared bright against the dark, painting streaks of defiance across Titan's firmament. In a universe weighed heavy with chaos, their tenacity was the aberration, the sole source of light amidst the void. "Just a little longer," Aisha implored, her voice a desperate plea to stars that had long gone silent. As the Ravager forces closed in, Eli and the soldiers formed a last line of defense, human courage the brittle iceberg to the extraterrestrial tide. Bolstered by grit, they fought on, limbs aching yet spirits unimpaired. And then, with a final flourish of her fingers, Aisha completed the last synchronization sequence, a synchronous heartbeat between earth and sky, pulsating with life. The city above responded to this unfathomable call, its structure vibrating with newfound synergy. Light cascaded downward, bathing the monolith and the land around it in radiant energy. The conduit was formed, the portal opening between past potential and present necessity. Amidst the maelstrom of conflict, hope unfurled its wings, the narrative thread now firmly in humanity's grasp. Their sacrifices were echoed in the heartbeat of possibility, pulsing ever brighter as they approached the brink of history. With the portal on Titan fully opened, a bridge between epochs, light poured through with a warmth that defied the icy moonscape, banishing shadows of despair with beams of radiant hope. Rhea, Cole, Aisha, and Eli faced the unfurling marvel, haunted by its vastness yet empowered by the possibilities it held. "It's magnificent," Cole whispered, awestruck, as cascades of color entwined around them, each hue a testament to an ancient civilization's foresight. But their euphoria was short-lived. The Ravagers, witnessing the fruition of humanity's desperate gamble, surged with redoubled vigor. Their dark forms contrasted starkly against the spectacle, an uncanny threat amidst beauty. "We can't let them disrupt this link. Hold the line," Rhea commanded, her resolve as steady as her aim. The soldiers rallied once more, a tenacious bulwark against the Ravager's wrath. Each hero's stand was a beacon, resistance echoing through every shot fired, every step held firm. Eli maneuvered through the fray with a stoic calm. Every decision was driven by strategy and the unwavering belief that their survival would spark humanity's renaissance. He encouraged his troops with actions beyond words, conviction embodied in endeavor. Meanwhile, Aisha and Cole remained at the control panel. Aisha's talents were now focused on maintaining the portal's stability, her mind driven by equal parts instinct and duty. "The harmonic balances are shifting. We need to stabilize the portal or it'll collapse on us." "Right behind you," Cole confirmed. Together they synchronized their movements like seasoned dancers, dedicated to safeguarding this fragile tether to salvation. Amidst the battle's fury, beams of light descended from the portal, weaving around the defenders. These tendrils of energy sought them out, probing with a sentience alien yet familiar. "Look, they're here to help," Rhea observed, disbelief giving way to a spark of faith. The beams wrapped around the soldiers, bolstering them with an infusion of strength and vitality. The balance of power shifted. The tide was turning at last. Each breath, each movement, felt accelerated, the physical boundaries of human limits expanded by the city's ancient gifts. As the portal poured forth hope, the final confrontation loomed, an impending clash not just of civilizations, but of dreams, bearing the weight of all that was at stake. This was humanity's crescendo, moments away from defining the fabric of their future. In the brittle cold of Titan's dawn, where hope crystallized into reality, the final chapter in humanity's struggle reached its precipice. The celestial city continued to pulse above, an omniscient witness to the battleground steeped in the brilliance of its light. Empowered by the ancient energy coursing from the portal, Rhea led the charge with renewed vigor. Her team's efforts had unlocked a power once buried in myth, and the mantle of survival was now theirs to wield. The Ravagers, realizing that their impasse was turning against them, pressed harder. Their attacks were fierce, each brutal wave an encore of aggression and desperation. Yet for every inch they tried to gain, the human resolve pushed them back further. "Eli, form ranks! Don't let them break through." Rhea's voice cut the air, her presence a beacon of unyielding strength. Eli's command was decisive, harnessing the energy that swirled around them. "This is our world, our time. Stand your ground," he bellowed, every word sinking into the hearts of soldiers becoming legends. Aisha and Cole fortified the portal's resonance, drawing more of the city's gift into their earthly struggle. "The city is responding to us, adapting," Aisha noted. "If we can maintain this for just a little longer, the tides will shift irreversibly." "Then let's give it everything we've got," Cole replied, his voice echoing with fierce determination. Lines of connection between human and alien force crystallized, channels of energy flowing outward. The landscape vibrated with expectancy, as if the very soul of Titan held its breath. Suddenly, as if understanding the futility of further aggression, a fraction of the Ravagers halted their assault, bewilderment caught between incomprehension and reevaluation. A standstill ensued. One final push by Rhea's team, a collective roar into abyssal uncertainty, saw the remaining Ravagers withdrawing, their shadowy forms vanishing into the hazy distance. Victory sang its subtle refrain, rising into a triumphant crescendo. The beams from the portal embraced the humans, casting a protective veil over them as the battling ceased. Together, Rhea and her team stared up at the portal, its luminescence beginning to dim, the ethereal city slowly disintegrating back into legend. They had tapped into its power, their cause met with celestial approval. "We did it," Rhea murmured, her words carrying the weight of a legacy reborn. The mission, a gambit against utter annihilation, had succeeded. As Titan's winds whispered around them, Earth's champion stood victorious, scarred but invincible, marked by an indelible truth. United, resilient, they had forged a new dawn.